Like, Sean posted a picture of you on Facebook.
We are live now.
Hello, everybody.
I saw that earlier last week.
Are we using Google Hangouts?
We have 2 views. There is a delay.
Oh.
There is a delay. So if you actually try and watch yourself, there is a delay.
What are you guys using to go live? Google Hangouts?
Google Hangouts. I just tweeted out the link.
Yeah, I just.
Oh, you're using it. Escape comments section.
I buffered the questions already.
I buffered the questions too.
Is there a one hashtag or are you using for this?
We're using SatChat, but the Edscape conference is Edscape.
So when we tweet you for the Escape house coming out,
It doesn't matter.
How long will it take you? Are you really up at 2:30?
yes, 2:30 and 11:30.
Oh my gosh.
and yeah, it was like a little bit, yeah.
Should we get Star up here?
Oh, really?
Or are we gonna do intro first?
45 minutes with getting stopped. Yeah.
Oh, I saw that.
Like, cross that off my list.
We want to thank Sharon for bringing pizza. Where's it from again?
Pepe's Pizza.
Pepe's Pizza in Connecticut.
Grandpa, well, we don't want it from New Haven right now, given the questionable Ebola patient.
Now, is Pepe Pizza's like a big pizza chain up in?
Well, it was one for a long time. They started the chain the last couple of years, but it's fading away. It's like the famous. New
4
Haven style
people.
pizza.
Yep.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to SatChat Live from New Milford High School in New Milford, New Jersey. I'm Brad Curry, along with Billy Krakauer. Billy, how's it going?
Good. How you doing today?
I'm outstanding. We really miss Scott. I know he's probably 10,000 feet in the air right now, on his way to Alaska for a keynote at the Alaska Principals Conference in Anchorage, Alaska. I believe it's in Anchorage anyway. We have a sold-out crowd right now here. You can hear everybody. Most of the people that are in the audience had to drive like 3 or 4 hours.
I heard somebody was up at
Jersey.
2:30 in the morning driving here.
Yes. So we have a bunch of people here in the audience, and today we're going to talk about game changers in education, looking at people's philosophy of education, and then leading into game changers in education. And it's a very exciting lineup today. We have Star Saxton, we have Chris Castle, Eric Scheninger, Josh Stumpenhurst, Laura Fleming, Lynn Hill, Sharon Plant, Jared Wassler, and Ross Cooper, to name a few. And you never know who else may just jump on the set here. A lot of big names will be presenting today. A lot of great sessions on tap here at the, I think it's like the 5th or 6th annual Edscape Conference.
6th
Is it the
annual.
6th? Yeah. So right now we're doing check-ins on SatChat. You can follow us using the hashtag SatChat. Again, today's topic is game changers in education. So we'll look at people's philosophy of education, and then we'll transition towards the end of SatChat, looking at game changers in education. We have people checking in from all over the world here on SatChat, on Twitter. We're also live here. Billy's been tweeting out the link.
Send out the link again.
We have Donna checking in from Southern Illinois. Good morning, Donna. Hope all is well. We have Carol checking in from New York. Jay from New Jersey. Jay, sorry he's not here. Jay, hope to connect soon. Donald checking in from Long Island, New York. Jasper Fox from New Jersey. We have Powerful Learning Practice checking in from Virginia Beach, Virginia. All sorts of people checking in here with SatChat live from the Edscape Conference. And as this live session goes on, more and more people will pop in. It's a very exciting day here at New Milford High School, the Edscape Conference. Josh Stuppenhurst is the keynote, and Lynn Hill, the is the featured speaker, and there are, I think, close to 75 sessions, Billy.
I believe so, and I believe there's over 300 people who are here in attendance today.
Yeah, so that'll be neat. Sharon Plant from Connecticut was gracious enough to bring us Pepe's Pizza. So thank you, Sharon.
Nothing wrong with pizza bright and early.
That's right. And
Oh, Ross, it's dinner time.
if you're driving into Edscape, feel free to put our Google Hangout on air through your Bluetooth in your car and listen and learn as you drive along. Now, Billy, today you're presenting with Sharon, right? And
Yes.
What is your session on?
Legos in education. We are going to be discussing how we work together to use Legos in the reading and writing setting, and also we're going to discuss Legos in the math setting.
Awesome. That's great.
And I believe Ross Cooper is going to be building a life-size model of Tom Murray.
Chris Castle. Chris, how you doing, buddy? We're live. How you doing? All right. All sorts of people here in the audience. In a moment, we'll bring on Star Saxton, our first guest of the day. I know Star is an early bird, so that's why we put her on first. We have Brent checking in from Columbus, Ohio. Brent, how's it going? Lisa Mead is checking in from New York. Lisa is on her way to Edscape. Good morning, Lisa.
We got Jerry Blumengarner checking in from Florida, otherwise known as Cybrarian Man.
Now, Billy, how many people do we have on the Hangout right now?
13 viewers.
13 viewers. So if people could retweet that link, that would be tremendous. Rob Pennington just walked in. Rob, how's it going, buddy? I'm retweeting the link to the live feed. And our first guest is going to come on up here. Star. Star, how you doing? Welcome. Star and I go way back to 2012? Way back in the day. Star, good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
All's well?
That's awesome.
So Star, can you tell us, we have a bunch of people here online watching us, some people here in the audience. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I don't really know what there is to tell. I've been
There's all sorts of things to tell, Star. Come on.
I've been teaching for 13 years in New York. I teach high school English right now. Mostly just looking to really change the way kids think about learning, change the way folks think about learning in general. I blog a little bit, so I write.
Just a little bit?
Just a little bit. Little bit. So, I try to lead by example, teaching my kids how to reflect on a regular basis. And really, it's all about them. I'm just sort of like the ringleader of the crazy show that was on MySpace.
So Star, you have a few books out. Teaching Mythologies Exposed, right? And now you have another book as well. You have 3 books. What's the other book?
Well, there's one coming out from Corwin for the Connected Educator series about blogging for educators that comes out in January.
Okay.
There's the Teaching Mythology one, and then the first one is the lesser known, not talked about sort of project that started with my first group of students. It's a historical fiction novel that we don't really like to talk about.
So Star, we're here today looking at game changers in education, and the first question was tweeted out moments ago. Looking at the philosophy of education. What is your philosophy of education?
I think one of the major challenges right now is that we're stuck in a system that doesn't work anymore, and a lot of us are trying to work within that system and do workarounds, which work on a small level but really aren't working to move towards a larger scale. So for me right now, it's getting rid of grades. Is something that I kind of leapt off of a cliff with this year. No one else in my school is doing it. So it's me and the kids, and every time someone mentions a grade, the whole class kind of stops and says, we don't talk about grades in here. It's about learning, it's about mastery, it's about thinking about skill sets and how they apply to different things across the board, not just what goes on in our class, but how they can apply what they're learning in our class to everything else in their lives. So I think it's just shifting the idea of learning being about, achievement being about learning and not about grades. And that's really what the focus of everything I've been doing lately about with more student-centered projects and sort of fun stuff. Like my kids just finished doing tutorials on poetry elements, and now we're going to be doing talk show segments for Animal Farm, where they're going to be looking at author's craft and displaying it through funny talk shows. So I mean, it's good stuff, and the kids learn and they enjoy it, and they're actually getting the no grades thing a lot better than I was expecting. It's been awesome.
That's awesome. That's a big, shift in terms of the philosophy, looking at grades, because we're all used to A, B, C, D, F. And then, but when you really think about it, what is the purpose behind that?
Well, I think ultimately grades are about teachers. They're not about students. They're supposed to be to communicate learning to parents, to students, but ultimately they don't do any of that. In elementary school, my son gets an itemized report card, standard by standard, where he is on everything. But when you get to high school, you get one line item with a single letter grade or a number grade. And that doesn't adequately sort of talk about what my students are learning. How could an average grade communicate anything of value to students about their learning? So that's sort of where I departed when I was trying to think about it, because even if it is a composite score, it doesn't adequately convey any real information. It's easier for teachers, that's why we do it.
I hear that, and it's the bottom line is that's my philosophy of education. What's best for kids, right? And that obviously that is what's best for kids. Billy, looking along your frame of mind, elementary setting, philosophy of education for you.
Is what's best for the students, but also being creative and innovative. We're in a new society. We're no longer teaching that here's the textbook, we're going to go to the next page, we're going to go to the next page. We need to be thinking outside the box. We're no longer in the four classroom walls. We have to be beyond the classroom.
And what's it looking like on Twitter here, Billy? You have any good insight from people in terms of their philosophy of education?
Where's Tony Sinaias, who is a principal out in Long Island, and I just lost his tweet. But Tony is very innovative in what he does in his school, and getting all his teachers engaged and in learning with his students.
So, as Billy looks for Tony's tweet,
Here we go.
We found it. Here it goes.
That every child will learn in an environment that values their voice and creates a safe haven for them to take risks with learning.
Absolutely. And Tony must be tweeting and driving. I hope he's not tweeting and driving.
I hope he's out of there.
I think he's on his way here. I think he's coming in. So, Star, that's great with your philosophy of education. Now looking at like game changers, right? So you move from philosophy to people either in their own personal life, professional life, whether that's virtual or physical. Who are some game besides yourself? You're a game changer in my life. Who are some game changers in education?
Well, I've been working really closely with Mark Barnes. He has written a couple of books already about getting rid of grades, and he has a whole process for giving really great feedback. And him and I kind of connected through that and started a Facebook page. He started it, and then I kind of helped manage it, if you will, because he's got another book coming out. Alan November was kind of the person who introduced me to Twitter, and I've met him a bunch of times, been up to his conference, and he's also sort of been an entryway. Of course, you guys, my Ed Perspective buddy over here. And I'm meeting people all the time that kind of help me think about things and make me question. And one of I would say the one most influential person in getting me to where I am now is I had read Ken O'Connor's book, 15 Fixes for Broken Grades, last year, and it was the first educational book I read in a really long time that actually made me question everything that I did, because I was one of those teachers who did use grades as like a threat, sadly. It's embarrassing to admit.
You should be embarrassed. No.
I was one of those kids who was a grade monger as a child, as an honor student. I wanted to do well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's what I knew, it's what I did. And I read that book and I was like, oh, that isn't such a good idea. That doesn't make a lot of sense. And then I did a lot more reading. Alfie Kahn, I did a bunch of reading about, I've been reading a lot lately. The whole Connected Educator series, everybody that's on there with us. Peter DeWitt's been real awesome. He kind of gave me my way into editing, letting me post on his blog, and then they offered me a blog of my own, which was happening. So there's just so many awesome people out there. I just wish we were all closer together so
I
that
hear you.
we could put our heads together.
Morning, everybody.
Morning.
So, Stars, we wind down here with your particular session here. Today, this afternoon, you're presenting with me
Yes.
on Ed Perspectives. You want to briefly talk about what participants can expect?
Sure. Well, we, as you know, a bunch of years ago now, did an initial blog post about a particular topic from the teacher perspective and the administrator perspective, and how sometimes teachers and administrators see things a little differently. And we thought it would be an awesome idea to kind of convey to people what those two perspectives are, where they're the same and where they're different, and maybe try to close the gap and understand between those two perspectives. So today we're hoping to talk about risk-taking, what that looks like for an administrator, what that looks like for a teacher, and how we can support it to make the school a better place.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a great session. Tremendous sessions all day today. Star, thank you very much for joining us. I'll see you later. Billy, how's it looking on Twitter here? How many people do you have online?
We have 25 viewers on Twitter. It's looking great right now. A lot of great conversation is going on.
And we're about to transition here to question 2. Actually, it was just tweeted out. How does your philosophy of education impact student success? And with that, particular question, we're going to bring up our next guest, my friend Chris Castle. Chris, come on up, buddy. How you doing? Chris and I, how you doing, buddy?
How you doing?
Chris and I first met a few years ago on Twitter, but we actually met last year. We presented together at Tech Forum, New York, and we had a great session on social media and technology.
And isn't a Tech Forum coming up, Brian?
Yes, Tech Forum New York is coming up next Friday. Myself and a few others will be there talking about all the great things that are happening in education. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Chris, welcome to the set of the great set here, Sat Chat Live. People watching us all over the world, and hundreds of people on Twitter, and thousands of people in this room right now watching us here live.
Thousands, it's so exciting here.
Yes, and many pizza pies. Chris, welcome to Sat Chat Live. Chris, you want to tell everybody about yourself?
Sure. Recently departed New York City teacher. I just left the DOE after 11 years. I'm now working in Westchester and Scarsdale.
Okay.
I was a corporate .comer before going into teaching, and born and raised in Brooklyn. Did a couple years of Jesuit education out in Colorado before going to college for film and television. So I have a bit of a diverse background, so to speak. And yeah, I worked in the DOE. It was great. I mean, I loved it. I went to elementary and middle school in New York City, so it was great to be a teacher in that environment. And an opportunity presented itself outside of the city that I had to jump on. So I'm in my second month of my first year teaching outside of New York City.
Yeah, Scarsdale is a great district. I was fortunate enough to travel there last year to do a site visit to see all the great things that they were doing with technology, and it's just amazing place. Today we're looking at game changers in education, and even before we get into that, like the philosophy of education. What is your philosophy? And before we get to that, Billy and I are wearing these crazy shirts here today. I'm going to thank Jay Graham. Jay is a educator from Indonesia, and he sent us these, I guess, what are they, Thailand?
They're Thailand.
Hawaiian shirts sort of things, but I like it. It's nice. Yes.
Yeah, come with BS.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly. But anyway, Chris, getting into your philosophy of education, what makes you tick? What gets you going every day?
I mean, I suppose what I always tell most people is I get bored easily. So I'm always kind of or I guess I feel like I sort of dawned on me last night as I was thinking about coming to this. I often feel like I'm pushing the edge of a round concept. I mean, like I feel like I'm not doing anything unique or new. So I'm always trying to find that sort of actual edge of things and kind of push things. So I feel like if I'm going to be bored in my lab, my students are probably going to be bored. So I kind of I hate doing the same thing over and over again. I'm always trying to just figure out new things to do and kind of keep it fresh. selfishly for myself, but I feel like that then transcends down to students, kind of makes it a little bit more engaging, and like I said, sort of pushing the limits and trying to find that sharp edge of sort of fun and innovation.
That's great. And Billy here is leaving the set and adjusting the camera. Thank you.
It's all the ball.
We gotta get the better view of you, Brad.
Did you just break something?
No.
Okay.
It's the reflections off the head. It's
Yeah, watch it.
thrown off.
Yeah, double reflection. So there's Alyssa Malaspina.
Hello. Oh, you're gonna mention me.
Recent BAMI Award winner, librarian of the year.
2001?
Oh, that.
You're getting polished, let me hear for you.
So great to see Alyssa. Now, Billy, how's it going on the live Google Air on air hangout?
It's going good. We still have 26 people with us, and the Twitter stream is very popular this morning.
And right now, we're looking at question 2. How does your philosophy impact student success? And Chris is, just say, sometimes he feels bored. Is always pushing the limit, trying to try new things. Billy, I know you're doing those sorts of same things in
Same
in your
thing
classroom
as well.
Are there some things you're exploring this year?
I'm looking more into besides just doing mission location calls, how can I connect my students beyond those calls? And what else can we bring in besides doing your Google Doc project, everything else? What else can these students do at least I teach 3rd and 4th grade. What can we do beyond that? So it's just trying to find, I've been still looking for an idea of what can be done.
Yeah, what's next, right? What's next?
What's the next big thing?
Chris, as we wind down here, your particular part here on Chat Live, game changers. Who are the game changers in your own educational life?
So as I was thinking about that question, I thought back to who I kind of think about as a teacher, and that my senior year theology teacher, Father Burshek, James Burshek, he's a Jesuit, he's now stationed in St. Louis. But he never let me just give an answer. He always wanted me to follow through with it, and it didn't matter what it was, and he never wanted me to appease him. So even if it was, why do you believe in God or something like that, I had to give him something real, and I had to give him explanation, and I had to back up, and I had to really give him detail about my point. So I always think about that because it was just say, sure, God, religion, Bible, awesome, give you a grade, move on. But he never wanted that. He never let me take the easy way out. So I kind of always think about that and about having to give that extra sort of level of thought to things. So he's somebody I always think to, like, just as a teacher. Somebody that I've been very impressed with personally is a kindergarten teacher in my old building, Maria Camastro. And she's on Twitter at Maria Camastro. She's a kindergarten teacher, been in the teaching a long time, not a fan of technology, even will say to you that she hates technology. She tweets a ton and has created this awesome open environment where she has grandparents of her students joining Twitter so they could follow along with the classroom. She's got parents who can never get into the classroom who are psyched that she's on Twitter. And she's self-admittedly, she hates technology, but she's amazing to watch because this is somebody who never thought, and nobody in the building would have ever thought would have embraced technology, who is actually known as the Twitter queen in that building because she does it so well and everyone loves it. So she's amazing. So she's somebody I reference a lot. And then sort of personally, Lisa Nielsen from the DOE was a big supporter of mine and was always a great sounding board for me. And as we were sort of pushing the limit of social media in our elementary school, she was great, sort of helping me out, kind of providing support and enthusiasm and whatnot. And I don't know. I suppose anyone who's here today, it's a Saturday and no one's getting paid for this. So, I would imagine even those at home who are up at 7 a.m. following along, you got to figure that those people are the ones trying to change the game, even if we don't know about them, even if they're not active on social media other than following a hashtag. They're looking to change their game. So, that makes them game changers. And I guess the last person would be Chris Cowder out on Long Island. If you ever are at a conference where he's presenting, sit in one of his sessions. The guy's got amazing ways to use Google resources that are awesome. And yeah, he's a ton of fun. He's a great guy. And I know he's going to be up at NiceGate this year. So anyone going to NiceGate should definitely say hello to Chris Cowder. But yeah, so that's it for me. I try to think about not just modern people, not just connected people, but I try to look at the people who aren't, who are trying to change their own game, because that's then going to trickle down to the students.
That's great, Chris. And today you're presenting here at the conference. And what's your session about?
Telling your school story, basically using the different tools like Twitter and Tagboard, but then also some apps like Adobe Voice and Telegami to kind of integrate more than just the text, but sort of have that dynamic short burst, quick, kind of changing the concept of the newsletter and make it a little bit more engaging.
That's great. I learned about Tagboard from you last year at Tech Forum New York, and that's something I promote from time to time so people can follow a particular hashtag across. That's pretty neat. Chris, I thank you for coming on to our set here.
Thank you,
Have a
guys.
good one. Bye. I'll see you later.
Thank you. And we had a question from the audience. Is that an Apple Watch?
Was that a question from Ross?
I will not comment.
So technically, it's actually an iPod Nano from like 7 years ago that's on a lunatic band. So it is. It is an Apple Watch, technically. It's not the iWatch, but it's an iPod Nano.
That's great.
I'll go show Ross since he asked that question.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you. We're moving on here. We just tweeted out question 3 a moment ago. Again, topic today, Sat Chat Live here at the Edscape Conference, looking at game changers in education. And we've had a great conversation so far. Star Saxton, Chris Castle have joined us. We have over 30 people watching us live here on Google Hangout on air, hundreds of people on the Sat Chat hashtag on Twitter, and thousands of people in the audience right now watching us here. Yes, thousands. He looks at the exaggerate. That's it. So we're moving on here. Billy, what's it looking like here on the Twitter sphere and people, what they're tweeting out?
There's a lot of great stuff getting tweeted out right now.
Jenny Grabiak have anything?
Jenny Grabeck's actually on her way into Manhattan right now, but not coming here.
I'm sorry, I mispronounced her last. It's Grayback, right? That's not Grabiak. I think she told me she.
I think she corrected us at one point.
So we're going to bring up our next guest here. He's actually our keynote speaker today here at the Edscape Conference. Josh Stumpenhurst, somebody that you can follow on Twitter at Stump Teacher, and he's just a tremendous educator with a lot to share. And for a few moments, he's going to take part here in Sat Chat Live. Josh, how's it going, buddy? How's the flight?
I wasn't delayed, so that's always a good thing.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Really looking forward to listening to you today on the keynote at Edscape Conference. Josh, you want to tell everybody on our Google Hangout on air here in the audience and on Sat Chat, a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm a teacher, 6th grade social studies and ELA now, I guess is what we call it. 6th grade, been there for 12 years. I coach basketball and track, athletic director, team leader. My wife's a teacher, so I've got kids in school, so I'm just all about school.
That's awesome. So you're like a jack of all trades, just like all of us,
Master of none and a master of none.
You just got to, try to do it the best you can, right? So, without giving away the whole, presentation today, what are some things you're going to touch upon in your keynote?
Actually, I'm trying something completely different, completely new. So this could totally blow up in my face. And so what I wanted to do was, I'm real big on just finding people's passion and obviously with kids. And so one of my passions within the last couple of years has been running. And so I'm going to try to kind of mix and blend the lessons I learned while running across this country and what I do in the classroom with kids. And hopefully either you walk away wanting to go for a run or do something different in your classroom. Either way, I feel is a win.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, looking at your own philosophy of education, what does it mean to you to be an educator and to impact students?
I think we have a tremendous responsibility. I look at my own kids. Because when you look at your own children, you put them on that bus and send them to school, the responsibility, that's placed on those people, and I take that very seriously. And I think to myself quite often, if that was my son sitting in that class, how would I want him to be treated? And that pretty much, that dictates nearly every single thing I do, is I look at what would I want somebody to do if that was a situation that my children were in, and that's my philosophy.
That's great. That's great. And Billy, how are we looking so far here on the Google Hangout on air and online? Anybody tweeting out some inspirational messages?
I'm trying to catch some, but it's a lot going on right now. There's a lot going on.
Billy, looking at what Josh just said and doing what's best for kids, is there a particular learning experience, a situation that you can think of in the last few months that really has, been a true example of that in your own classroom? As the bell rings.
Just, there's a bunch of different experiences, just, trying to figure out what to do with my students. It's changing everything rapidly right now. Computer teacher, thinking about what we need to be able to teach in order to get these students prepared for the Park assessment that's coming up in the spring, really kind of changes around in which way you're teaching and which way your teaching style gets approached.
But you're still innovating. So that's important as well, right, Billy? Who's that? Hey, how's it going, man? Good seeing you. All right. Right.
Yeah, still innovating, trying to find new ideas. I was just at a conference with Brad at NJPSA, just sharing the ideas of integrating social media and technology and just trying to find new ways. Innovative way is using Edmodo and just different ways of getting students to take quiz assessments online. And it's something simple and you don't think about it.
Yeah. So, and Billy's doing some work here on the screen. He's actually archiving the Twitter discussion using Storify. And so we can always go back. People paying attention to SatCheck can go back and check out the archive. Josh, as we wind down here with your particular, I know you get back to your keynote here and get ready for that. Looking at game changers in education as somebody's photobombing our
I
don't think Ross realizes this all gets recorded.
Thank you, Ross. Who are some game changers in your own professional life?
Oh, it's tough. The whole, game changer. To name specific people would be tough for me because I think anybody that works with kids is a game changer because they're literally changing the lives of those children for better or for worse, and it's a tremendous responsibility. So to list a single person, I don't think I could, because I believe every single one of us have to assume that role for the kids in our classes, or as administrators, you are that role for your teachers and then in turn the kids in your classroom. So I'm going to sit on the fence on there, not give you any names, and just say we all are, and we have to be responsible for that. Awesome.
Well, I thank you for joining us here for a few moments, and good luck today, and I'll catch up with you, buddy. Thanks. Yep. All right. Bye-bye. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting close here to we're on the 8 o'clock hour, and we're looking at game changers in education, philosophy of education. People are tweeting out some great comments related to this particular topic, and we're here live at Edscape. Billy?
Yeah, no, it's going great. We have a great conversation going on in the room. We have great conversation going on Twitter. There's a lot of great stuff that's being said here. Trying to catch some stuff as I'm doing the Storify.
And did you just say something to me?
No. Just say, do we want to bring up Alyssa Malasmina?
Yes, I think we will. There was a lot of political prep from a lot of the politicians in New Jersey because she was a BAMI Award winner.
What I would ask Alyssa,
What's up, my friend?
is, we're sitting here talking about game changers, and recently you won a BAMI
Yes.
for what you've done in the librarian role. So you want to share with everyone what you've done in South Orange, Maplewood to be a game changer.
I don't think I've done anything actually special. I think I incorporated technology and areas much way as possible. And there's a lot of people that are doing exactly the same thing in our field now. So for me, it's nothing. I didn't think I was in any way game changing. I brought in Google Hangouts. We used a lot of Google Hangouts. We did a lot of using augmented reality and technology into the library, but no, there's nothing. I mean, there's so many people out there that's doing the exact same thing. I think I just publicized what I was doing, which is something that I think as librarians, especially, we have to, because that are getting cut so often that it's all about trying to publicize and market what you're doing on a daily basis so that people realize, oh, the libraries really are more than just books.
So enough living in the past. You're now you're now the can you tell everybody what you do now and how are things going with that in terms of your philosophy of education and things along those lines?
So now I am the coordinating supervisor of educational technology and STEAM 612 for the Parsippany Troy Hill School District. I do a lot of everything. I do some professional development for the staff. I do supervise librarians and computer teachers and TV production teachers. I am sort of coordinating our STEAM efforts that we're sort of starting at Parsippany Troy Hills. So there's a little bit of everything that I'm doing, and it's fun. But it's challenging. There's not enough time in the day to do everything.
I hear that. Now, Alyssa, looking at your own philosophy of education, can you what makes you tick as an educator?
Geez, you're asking hard questions, and I wasn't supposed to be on, so I didn't prepare anything. I'm just kidding. I know you didn't know you could do that. Look, the wife is calling. You better answer that. What was the question again? It was like philosophy of education. The philosophy of education. I mean, my philosophy of education is trying to make education and learning engaging and interesting for students, and so do that, because I'm so sick of the whole standardized test thing and teaching to the test. And yeah, we need skills and all of that, but there's ways to do that that make it engaging and fun, and that the kids really learn. Because when we're teaching to a test, they're not learning, they're memorizing, and we're coming up with a generation of children that memorize stuff. So when you can incorporate technology, and when you can incorporate, project-based learning and all of that, that's when you start to see students really learn. And so, that's sort of what I'm trying to do, is find ways to take the technology and incorporate it in and make learning sort of fun.
Now, Alyssa, you have a book coming out, right? So you're working on a book right now. And can you tell everybody a little bit about that?
So I'm working on a book on augmented reality and how we can do augmented reality and put it into the classroom. So I'm looking at different ways that educators have used augmented reality in the classroom and in the libraries, and then how you can sort of do it yourself. So it's that whole idea of Google Classes and taking what's out there and making it more engaging and interesting for students.
That's awesome. I'm looking forward to that. And with your particular part here on Sat Chat Live. Yes, I'm looking at game changers in education. Who are some game changers in education during your time as an educator that have really shaped the way you do things now?
Well, there's so many. So I'm gonna take the librarian role because that's the one that not as many people talk about. We all talk about the educators. So there's some amazing librarians that are really game changers out there. Shannon Miller, Nikki Robertson, Jennifer Lagarde, Tiffany Whitehead, Laura Fleming, Jonathan Weiner. There's so many, I can't even name them all, that are doing some amazing things in education and especially libraries. And if you follow just the TL virtual cafe community, you'll find a credible range of librarians that put a lot of stuff out there for you to use in your library and classrooms.
That's awesome. Alyssa, I thank you. Are you presenting today?
I am.
What's your session on?
It is on Google Hangouts and using those in the classroom.
Are you presenting with somebody?
Well, at Angelina Shy, Melissa Butler was, I'd like to say what I usually tell what it is, but she'd kill me. No, it's actually her daughter's name. Look at me. I'm being good, Melissa. And she was supposed to be with me, but she also works for Teachers College, and Teachers College is having their big reunion this weekend, so she won't be joining us. But I have John Fritzke that's going to be sort of joining us too. And he will be, because he's participated in our virtual debates. So we'll have fun.
Well, thank you, Alyssa.
You're welcome.
Have a great day. I'll see you. Yep. All right, Billy. We were just with greatness there with Alyssa Malaspina, Bammy Award winner. And Yeah.
And, you know, we now have 27 viewers, Alyssa. So we went up by one viewer because they knew you were on.
They were like, as soon as Alyssa came on.
That's right. So we're moving in here to our next guest. We tweeted out question 4 a little bit ago, looking at philosophy of education, game changers in education. We have several people here in the audience, many people online, and obviously on Twitter participating here on SatChat. And it's been a great experience so far. And our next guest is running a little bit late, so we'll hold off on her. And that's right. That's how you got on. Absolutely. There's no. That's right. Absolutely.
While we're waiting for the next guest, I'm going to share Jimmy Cassis' philosophy of education. He goes, I want my philosophy to inspire others who want to be game changers, thereby increasing magnitude impact on school community. So that's Jimmy out from Iowa.
Yeah, absolutely. Jimmy's definitely a game changer and a definite friend of mine and somebody I know very well. And I learn a lot from him each and every time we connect, either virtually or in the physical world. Sharon, you want to come up now or what? All right. That's funny. That's funny.
But Ross, I brought you pizza.
Sharon, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Welcome. This is like your 3rd time now on SatChat Live, right? It was EdCamp New Jersey, EdCamp Leadership, and now we're going to start paying you. And this is, yes, I know. And that's right. Congratulations on your BAMI award.
Thank you very much.
Well deserved. That's awesome. And you're coming all the way from Connecticut, right? How long did it take you to get down here?
Actually, only about an hour and a half. Wasn't so bad. Closer than EdCamp New Jersey. So I'm going to lobby to move EdCamp New Jersey closer.
We'll try. That's right. We're looking at that. And you brought pizza with you,
Yes,
right?
I did. Yes, Pepe's Pizza from New Haven, just for Ross Cooper because he didn't get a BAMI.
I know.
Eric knows. Will you educate them?
I did not know.
Somebody gets it.
That's funny. So we're looking at, we just tweeted out the next question here on SatChat, looking at game-changing tools of the trade, and we'll get to that in a moment. Can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Sure. I am a special educator at an independent school for kids with language-based learning disabilities in Connecticut. Been a special educator for 18 years. And in the last 10 or so, I've really worked to figure out how to incorporate technology to support their learning. And that's really kind of where that path is right now to make it game-changing for them to find learning more accessible.
That's great. And looking at your own philosophy of education, you wear many hats in your district, I'm sure, just like all of us. What is your philosophy of education? What the day to day gets you motivated, gets you going? What do you believe in? That sort of thing.
It's really about for those kids that struggle with learning to find ways to make them successful. And if it's through a one-to-one moment to talk with them, to working with them independently, or to incorporate technology, it's just really making learning accessible through the idea of what tools are out there or what time we need to spend as educators. I had one student this week who was really reminding me what education was about, who was struggling with something, and the parent reached out to me and said, I'm reaching out to you out of all the teachers that he has because he trusts you and feels comfortable with you. And I didn't think I was doing anything special. And that was a moment that I realized, wow, I didn't even mean to. And that's really game changing in my mind to say, I need to do that more and more and really value those moments because that's what makes a difference, the interaction with kids and when making them feel comfortable and successful.
That's awesome. Billy, how are we looking here in the wonderful world of Twitter, in your own world?
My own world, we're looking good. There's a couple more people on the way. Tom Murray is on his way. It's his birthday. It's his birthday.
Do we have a cake, Eric?
He just wants to see Ross build him the life-size Lego.
Somebody put some candles with pizza on that.
Oh, yeah. I think the pizza got him here.
So we definitely have a cast of characters here at the Edscape conference, and it's going to be an unbelievable day. Over 70 sessions. Great keynote by Josh Stuppenhurst. Featured speaker Lynn Hilt, who hopefully can join us in a little bit. Sharon, looking at game changers in your own, obviously you're a game changer. We're all game changers in some way, shape, or form. Who has been a game changer in your own life, or now, before, that kind of thing?
It's a really great question that I've been thinking about all morning. And I think, as everybody has been saying, there's so many different people, I think, that impact. I have to say, everybody in this room, as part of my learning network, has really impacted me too. Especially Alyssa. Maybe Ross too, but that's okay. But it's really, I think we all, as connected educators, as we really talk about this during Connected Educator Month, it's really the connections we all have and sharing through whether it be here live at a conference, at an ed camp, or really online. I think that's so key. For me, one person that stood out was a professor I had when I was doing my administrative certification, who reminded me at the end of a class, gave us all notes, and she said, "You have a voice, you have things to say, use them." And it was ever since then that I said, okay, right, maybe I do have some things that can be said. And I kind of tell people, as a special educator, usually special educators speak to the special ed world. I find it more impactful to teach the regular ed world, because that way we impact all kids who need help learning.
That's awesome. And, I thank you for joining us here for a few moments.
We're going to go have the fan club meeting.
Okay. Yes. Thanks, Sharon. That's right. So, Bill, you want to tell everybody about our shirts? They're probably wondering why we're wearing these.
These shirts are from Jason Graham, and they're Batak shirts from Indonesia. So they're authentic live shirts. They actually took over a month to get here and had to sit in customs for like 2 weeks. So we finally got them. Jason sent them out about 3 months ago, and we decided to wear them today for our live Sat Chat. Scott Rocco, who is also one of our other counterparts, co-moderators, has one as well, and he just couldn't be here. We should have had the shirt here with a fake, little Scott.
We should have done that next time. Scott's on his way to Alaska. That's Flat Scott, yeah. I don't know how flat he is, but so yeah. He's 10,000 feet in the air, heading to Alaska to keynote the principal conference there. And hello, Lynn. How you doing? Big crowd. Yeah. That's right. There you go. See? That's right. Lynn, you can come up here if you want. Yeah. How you doing? That's all right. You're only on for 5 minutes. How you doing?
Thank you. Good.
How's everything going? All right?
Yeah, fine.
Good. Hey, so we're live on Sat Chat here. I know we're bringing it right on, but you have so much to share. And can you tell a little bit about yourself for the people in the audience, people watching here?
Sure. Currently, I'm an elementary tech integrator. So I work with 3 different buildings in my district. Before that, I was an elementary principal for 5 years, and that's really where I started connecting with other fine educators like those in attendance today. So typically I connect via Twitter or through the blogging networks, and I just found it to be a really meaningful practice for me. It helps me be a better leader and a better technologist at this point. So yeah, that's my background.
That's awesome how you went, from being a principal to that transition to tech integrator. That's awesome. And that's something that I think we're seeing a lot of, around the country, around the world, that because we're investing so much in technology that they really need to make sure that the people there at the forefront are solid people. And so you're a feature, and so that's neat. So without giving away the whole presentation, what are you going to touch upon in your presentation?
We talk about professional development today, and from the spin of what we need to do to put the professional back in professional development, make sure we're honoring the teachers as we're planning and implementing PD. So talking about some innovative ways to do that, and just keeping in mind that learning is about the people that are involved. So how can we focus on that when we're designing PD?
That's great. And today on Sat Chat, our topic is game changers in education. And we're all game changers in some way, shape, or form. who has had an impact or continues to have an impact, on your own life as a professional?
Well, that's a huge question. I would say if I'm thinking back a few years to how I first got started, certainly the people behind Connected Principals. If you're an administrator, check out the Connected Principals blog. Patrick, George, Eric, of course. And then not just the leaders, but the teachers that I see interacting on Twitter every day. That for me as a principal was really meaningful to connect with people like Pernille Rip and Josh Stumpenhorst, who's keynoting today, because they're grounded in what they do because they're working with kids every day. And that those are some game changers I can think of. There's too many to mention. I mean, Joe Mazza, all the people that, mean so much on a daily basis.
And that's the great thing. Right? I mean, because now the world's flat, especially with Twitter, and for educators to connect, just to have this and the Edscape conference and everybody knowing each other without actually probably some of us meeting each other in the physical world, coming to conferences now, Twitter has been a game changer, I think, in many ways for us to connect. You want to speak to that for a second and how that's kind of changed the game for us?
Yeah, especially, when it first started, it was a way to make those connections with people you wouldn't have the chance to do before. And through that and blogging networks and things like that. And over the recent years, having done it now for quite some time, it shifts in what you use it for. I mean, now I look to make more, deeper connections with people, to really think about topics. And I know there are people out there just getting started, and that is fantastic. But if you have been around for a while, just really thinking about the ways that you can go deeper with it and push back against some of the things that you're seeing, or ask people to think more critically. I think the more of us that do that, the more meaningful it's going to be for everybody. So yeah, I mean, making the connections. And what else is great is that as a leader, you can make connections to then lead your teachers to connections and your kids. So getting kids involved with global learning opportunities, things that they might not have been able to do without your leadership helping make those connections.
And to wind down here, your role as a tech integrator, like what is your main focus each and every day?
So it's a big job. It's got a big scope, but I get to work with teachers first and foremost, providing professional development, one-on-one help if needed. I do push-in lessons where I'm modeling the use of instructional technology that they can then follow up on. I actually do get to teach kids in like more of a lab setting, doing like digital citizenship lessons. So it's a broad scope. I work with administrators, so it's a wonderful, flexible role, and it's versatile. Every day is something different, and that's what I love about it.
That's awesome. Bill, I know in your district and many districts throughout the country, they're looking at bringing in a tech integrator as part of their school budget and then doing that. You want to speak to that for a moment?
I mean, I think it's a new role that is starting to come around a lot across the country, and it's something that is valuable. We're now talking about education, and I'm sure Alyssa can speak about it too, that you not only have your computer teachers and your regular classroom teachers, but you need someone in there to instruct teachers how to do it and how to work with the technology in the classroom. Look at all these new assessments that we're getting. Everything's online. Yeah. We're no longer taking paper and pencil, but you also need the resources in place to do all this.
Absolutely. And obviously the human resource is one of the most important resources, and having a tech integrator in your building is very important. Well, Lynn, I thank you for joining us for a few moments. No problem. And have a great day. I'll connect with Jared, you're doing a lot of neat things in your own district. You want to speak to a couple of things you're focusing on this year, or maybe you did last year and continuing this year?
Sure. I think our biggest one has been professional learning, in that we noticed that our teachers weren't engaged. And I think that's true in a lot of places. We go to our trainings, we sit, we get, and we don't feel we're better when we leave. And so what we focus on now is we have our teachers choosing what they want to do. They do a once-a-month reflection. Am I off?
No, he's on. He's
He's
on.
on.
Good.
Something just got disconnected.
I didn't do it. I'll keep talking. Don't
Yeah.
swing it.
Go ahead.
Your USB might have been out at the bottom. You better now?
Yeah, that might have been what happened.
Now I'm good. So with our professional learning, we built a model.
Teachers choose what they do. They submit a monthly reflection, and that's all we ask of them. And so it really is in their hands. So that's one piece. And now we're extending to our students. I'd give a shout out to Jimmy Cassis, but Maryland plays Iowa today in our homecoming game, so I can't talk to him or Degner until at least 4 o'clock. But, you know, he gave me the RSVP model as an idea, and we've instituted that. And it's really awesome to watch our students taking ownership along with the staff, and been nice to stand back and watch the stakeholders design and run a building instead of the administration and policy running the building.
That's great. And looking at, you know, your philosophy of education, what is it briefly, and how does it drive what you do?
I don't know why it's got to be briefly. You're gonna bump Ross. You're gonna be like Jimmy Kimmel and bump Ross like Matt Damon. Sorry. So I think for me, philosophy is best summed up with empowering our stakeholders, and I think that's where education has to be. Too often, policy drives what we do, and policy is great as a support, and it needs to be there for structure. But the reality is, the people in the room, like, you know, Ed Camp always says, smartest person in the room is the room. Smartest people in our building is the building. It's the kids, it's the parents, it's the staff, and we have to find ways to empower them, because they're going to make education matter.
Can I steal that quote? The smartest people in the building is the building. And that's right. Now, who are some game changers in your life, either in the past or now?
Brad Kerr.
Eric Bernstein.
Yeah, Fred Andy. No, I do not. I do not. I feel left out now. I want a Sat Chat sticker signed. I would say game changers for me, and I guess it's just people who really, you know, Eric got me connected like he did a lot of people, and really showed me it's okay to accept connection and the risk that comes with it. Jimmy brought me into a fold of educators at a conference and said, let's see what you can do. And the life has been different ever since. So it's a lot of people just reaching. I mean, Daisy in Arkansas, Daisy Dyer Doer, just the attitude of positivity no matter what happens. She never stops smiling. So I think it's that kind of stuff. And I'm going to throw a shout out to an elementary person, because my wife will be happy. Todd and Nesloni and Teds and Fem. When you see it, how can you not want to go out and change things?
Absolutely. Well, Jared, you're presenting today, right? And what's your session on?
Creating cultures of innovation.
Awesome. And is that this morning?
Yeah, first session.
Great. Hopefully I can stop by and check it out.
I have to stop by for that. What room are you in?
I don't know. They didn't have registration. Yet,
Jared, you're working on a book, right?
Yep. Looking at professional learning, particularly right now, and then working on a second one on innovation with that cultural framework we're talking about today. So
forward to it. I thank you for hopping on here for a few moments.
Thank you, Billy.
Take care. Yep. Billy, how are things looking here as we have one more guest and we're winding down on Sat Chat?
Things are looking great. Principal L's on the chat now, talking it up.
How come he's not here?
I don't know why Principal L is not here, but hopefully Principal L will make it down to Edscape, Ed Camp, New Jersey on November 22nd. For those of you who are not, it's free, and there will be another live Sat Chat, and Scott Rocco will be with us.
Absolutely. And that's on, yeah. That's right. And we're going to bring up our final guest for today, the great
co-moderator of Sat Chat Hack.
And many other, wears many other hats. We saved the best for last. Ross, how's it going, buddy?
Good. How are you?
Outstanding. Now, you came all the way from where?
Williamsport, Pennsylvania, about 3 hours away.
Home.
When did you leave?
Well, I got up at about 2:30 and then left around 4. and I'm eating breakfast now with my friends because Sharon was nice enough to bring in Pepe's Pizza from Connecticut, Fairfield, Connecticut.
That's great. And
We had to make sure that everybody knows it's Fairfield and not.
that's it. That's it. Now, Jared, you want to, or Jared, Ross, you want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. So should I hold the mic? You hold it. How does this work? So previously I taught for about 6 years, 4th grade. And right now I just became an assistant principal of 2 primary schools in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. They're both K through 3 schools. So I've been doing that a couple months now.
Awesome. And Ross, looking at your philosophy of education, what is it all about for you in terms of impacting students?
I think I could even quote a blog post from this morning that I saw that I wrote. So let me plug my own. No, I saw actually was on Facebook, empowering teachers so they can empower students. And I think that whole idea of being contagious and being enthusiastic about what you're doing, it really rubs off on people. I also think, I'm a big believer in perception is reality, especially as an administrator. We could do things top down and do all the research we want, but if the teachers don't buy into it, that it's not going to translate to success for the students. So I think we constantly need to keep all stakeholders involved and constantly communicate and not just listen to what people have to say, but really consider what they have to say and use that to drive our decisions.
That's great. I liked how you said that. Consider what people have to say. What are some things that you're focusing on this year as you look to push your schools forward?
Well, right now, it's kind of tough to say because I just started with the new district and the new schools. But my personal goal is to really just have more conversations about best practice. Just get teachers excited about what they're doing. I think standardized testing is very important, but I think we need to properly balance that, with creative thinking, inquiry-based learning, teachers and students taking risks, and just have more conversations about, what can we do to get students excited and engaged, in their everyday work. I think that's really important. So it's all about balance, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. And looking at game changers in your life as a professional, as a person, either in the past or now. I know we're all game changers here in some way, shape, or form. Who are some people that have really impacted your life?
Honestly, some of the people who have impacted me have really been some of the administrators in my previous district. My principal, under whom I worked for 6 years, he's on Twitter as Anthony Moyer. I think it's Moyer_Anthony. Kristen Campbell, who is my assistant superintendent, and my curriculum supervisor, Echo 432, Michelle James. She's on Twitter as well. And just people who kind of gave me the autonomy to do what I thought was best, who didn't micromanage me, and who really empowered me by giving me the tools I needed to succeed, and not just letting me influence the students in my classroom, but other teachers and students throughout my school and the district. So really people who have empowered me and just kind of almost modeled best practice in a way by letting me go and letting me learn through, that whole idea of productive struggle.
Sure. As we wind down here, how was the pizza this morning?
It was awesome. We have a lot left, so if anybody wants any, dig in. Once again, big props to Sharon. So far, I'm 2 pieces of clam pie in and 1 piece of two clam pie pieces and 1 piece of bacon pizza as well.
Wow.
So
it's a breakfast of champions. Yes. Ross, I thank you for joining us for a few minutes, buddy. Yep. All right. Thanks, buddy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are about done here with Sat Chat Live from the Edscape Conference. I thank everybody for joining us. Billy, you want to wrap things up?
I just want to thank everybody who showed up, came to the live chat, and I'm going to give one quick plug for Brad and his book, All Hands on Deck. He will be signing them later for anyone who hasn't. So for Brad Curry, myself, and Scott Rocco, thank you and good night.